In For All Mankind Season 4 Episode 5, Goldilocks, scientists all over the world celebrated as they found out that an asteroid made of iridium, a rare element on Earth, was about to arrive on an elliptical Mars-crossing orbit. All the M7 nations looked forward to getting a piece of the asteroid, and the entire global political system was dependent on the success of the mission. The matter was quite sensitive, considering the Soviet Union was currently the largest supplier of iridium, and it was important that they did not feel threatened by the new possibility. In an attempt to win the next election, President Gore made an announcement that suggested that the United States would own the entire pie, leaving the other M7 countries wondering if that truly would become the case. A new agreement became the need of the hour to confirm that the split of the resources would be fair and square. One of the most relevant questions from Season 3 was, what happened to Danny? He was exiled into the North Korean capsule after he was found guilty in the drilling disaster, but we were yet to find out what led to Danny's absence. Danny was a painful memory for Danielle, and every time the name popped up in any conversation, she was in distress. Danielle was close to Danny, and it was because she cared for him that she did not want him to come along to Mars. But Ed Baldwin did not pay heed to her decision and instead invited Danny on the Helios Mars mission. He believed he knew what was good for Danny without taking into account Danielle's decision. We find out in Episode 5 that after Danny was exiled, Danielle continued to carry food for him to the North Korean capsule every day. He wanted to return to Happy Valley, but Danielle was aware that he would not be accepted there. She sacrificed her ration for him and grew weaker with each passing day. Danielle would not have had to live through the horror had Ed listened to her. She eventually ran out of food to offer Danny, and she headed to the capsule with the last packaged meal left. Ed accompanied her to break the news to Danny, but upon reaching there, they found the capsule empty. In Episode 5 of For All Mankind, we finally find out that Danny gave up on life once he realized that it was impossible for him to return to his normal existence. Danny's death continued to haunt Danielle, and she partly blamed Ed for it. Kelly is a single mother, and when Devisa announced that she would have to accompany him to Mars, all she could think about was the well-being of her son. The project was important, but so was her son, and she struggled to choose between the two. Kelly had been researching for 15 years to find life on Mars, and now that she had the opportunity to finally execute, she did not know if she could make it. Aleda encouraged Kelly to prioritize her work and let her mother-in-law take care of her son. She believed her son would one day realize the significance of her work. When Kelly broke the news of her Mars travels to her son, he was upset. He wanted to go along with her, and the thought of staying away from his mother for over a year left him extremely heartbroken. Kelly knew that her son would never forgive her if she stayed away from him for long, and her mother-in-law would influence him further. Towards the end of Goldilocks, Kelly decided to not choose and instead find a way to prioritize both her career and her role as a mother. She walked into Dev's office and announced that she wanted to take her son along to Mars, considering that space travel had become safe over the years. After consulting with doctors, she came to the conclusion that her son's medical condition could improve if he stayed on Mars. The conflict Kelly experienced is something that every working mother goes through. The challenge of living up to the expectations of both roles is tough, but somehow, Kelly managed to find a way to strike a balance. Danielle and Ed had been in disagreement from the moment she decided to send Svetlana to Earth. Ed continued to create more obstructions for Danielle, and she decided to come to an agreement with him to make the Goldilocks mission go smoothly. Ed tended to do things his own way without consulting her, and at times, she found him impossible to deal with. Danielle chose not to get into an argument with him, knowing that anything she said would eventually backfire. But Poole refused to remain silent when she was informed about a medical condition Ed was suffering from. Ed experienced tremors in his right hand, yet he refused to report them. At the end of For All Mankind Episode 5, Danielle relieves Ed of flight duty. He refused to accept her decision and warned her that she was making a huge mistake. Ed assumed that Danielle was trying to put him in a spot because she wanted to take over. He failed to realize that by hiding his condition, he was jeopardizing a crucial mission. While Ed believed he had his condition under control, Danielle refused to take the risk. By now, it is evident that Danielle is a lot more rational than Ed, who is mostly driven by emotions. His ego and emotions had previously brought downfall, and Danielle refused to let it go this time. According to Danielle's instructions, Ed was not needed in the base as long as he was not deemed fit by the assigned doctor. Does that mean Ed Baldwin will return to Earth? Considering Kelly and her son are traveling to Mars, maybe Ed will stay on base a little longer, but surely his relationship with Danielle will only worsen with time. With Devisa traveling to Mars, we can expect more drama in Happy Valley. Will Goldilocks turn out to be a boon for humankind or a curse? For All Mankind is only getting interesting now, with every character driven by a motive and a larger problem at hand.